everyone. So this is the Real Talk with Claudia Mostaghasi, and yes, it's season 3, and I'm still reading the title on the board. I still don't remember what the name is of my show. But this is episode 2, and I have Peter McComb with me, and I'm super excited. I told you guys last episode that all this month, or all this season, actually, I'm focusing on brokerages, like the different brokers in town and different realtors, and what do they do, and what was their story, how did they start. But I wanted to have Peter here because actually... crazy story. Like, you might think lenders are always going after, the realtors, and you want to meet the realtor and you want the realtor business. And, I heard about Peter McComb and, on emails, right? Because I would get the emails, and he was like, transaction coordinator. Mm-hmm. And then I was like, who's this guy? And then you get in trouble with him if you don't answer the email, if you don't send the survey, or you don't and I was like, okay, who is this guy? And then we got into it.
We did. Yes.
We got into it because I had a clear to close, and he jumped the gun, went and told everybody that the file was going to close already. And I was like, dude, it's clear to close. It's not like literally done. And he was like, well, what do you mean? So we started and I was like, I like this guy. So I called him up, said, let's do lunch and meet each other and talk about what your job do. So welcome, Peter.
Thank you, Claudia.
I really love having you here. So tell us a little bit about how you help realtors.
The long and the short of it is, the number one thing I say is we help them get paid on time.
And who doesn't like that?
It's the most important thing to a real estate agent, to know that their check is ready at the title company when their file closes. So we do everything that leads up to that, everything that it takes to get the check to the title company at the end. We're there to help the agent. That's to get paid,
right?
Yes.
So when do you get involved in the transaction?
So the other thing I say is, no two transaction coordinator companies are exactly the same. They're all very, very different. There's no regulation across Texas. There's no regulation nationally, of course, for TC companies. The other thing is, in Texas, we follow the guidelines of the use of an unlicensed assistant.
Okay.
Even though a lot of the people on my team do have their real estate license, we do follow the use of unlicensed assistant. I mean, we don't cross into brokerage activities.
I see.
So this company is set up, Agent Transaction Solutions is set up so that we start when an agent executes a contract, or there's an executed contract, that's when we jump in.
I see.
Yes.
So as soon as they negotiate the contract and have an executed contract, goes to title company, goes to you too.
Correct.
Do you send it to title company? The realtor send it to title company? How does that work?
There's no structure there. It's different by agent. Sometimes we'll just get them from a title company. Sometimes the agent will say, will you execute this for today and send it out to all parties? Sometimes it'll come from the other side. So it's different. We don't require any agent to fill anything out for us when they get a contract. Some TC companies want the agent to go into a portal, fill out some data, and we're against that. So as soon as we receive a contract by email from our agent or from an authorized party, that means we're ready to get started.
And then you get all the information, and then you follow up. How often do you follow up? So let's pretend we have a 30-day contract.
Sure.
Do you follow up per week? Do you follow up per day? Do you follow up, do you have a timeline? I mean, how do you follow up?
Yes. So we build in a set of tasks per contract, specific to that contract. On a typical 30-day contract, there's really there's 4 major touch points in the contract.
Okay.
There's during the option period, hello, here's your roadmap, how are you, here's your wire fraud, here's some things we need signed. Oh, by the way, then as soon as the parties are moving forward and we have an executed repair amendment, we begin the appraisal phase of the contract. So there's a second touch.
Okay.
Then we have a pre-closing touch, which is always 7 or 8 days prior to closing. And then we have a post-closing touch. But there's a lot of conversation that goes on in between those touches, but those are the 4 key main
that
points
you have
where
to
we
follow
bring
up.
Everybody back together.
I see.
Yes, we're constantly communicating back and forth within those, but those are the 4 trigger tasks.
So if any realtors are listening to us, what we already heard what the benefits are. Sure. Obviously, they really don't have to, because it gets complicated when you get into, depending also with the lender and everything, or the title companies, or
So you'll hear all these companies, and I am a subscriber in this too. The number one benefit is leverage of their time.
Okay.
Literally. I mean, we have some agents who we call secret agents, meaning we don't ever hear from them, but they're good as far as they're good.
Secret agents.
They're called
I
secret
like
agents.
that.
So secret agents are agents that, we're not going to get a warm, fuzzy phone call or text messages or anything like that, but they're good about following their emails and keeping up with what we need. Those are secret agents. We then have silent agents, and we don't work well with silent agents because we're partners in business. We need them to be there in the
Information, right,
us, yeah.
right. The communication
and
and
then
all
we
that.
have some agents that we I don't know, we're talking to, texting all the time. So it just depends on how the agent wants to set it up. So we can they can spend as much or as little time with us as they want. The other thing that I see every time we sign up a new agent, after 3 or 4 closings, I see it. If I see them locally, I see the change, and they look at me and they say, "This is amazing." Like,
because you're not stressing out about
it's amazing how they never knew anything like this existed, and once they tried it, some agents let go easily, real easily and real fast. Other agents really try to hold on, but eventually they do let go.
So,
I'm sorry to interrupt. We're not asking to let anybody let go.
Right.
We're partners in business, and they enjoy having somebody else because it gets lonely out there sometimes.
Well, I mean, and that's the leverage that you need, honestly. I mean, I've been criticized so much about like how many people I have on my team, but I'm like, if I didn't have the team that I have, I wouldn't be able to help the amount of families that I help. I mean, you can't do it all alone. So for all those realtors out there that you're afraid, because honestly, it is being afraid of like hiring and having a salary to pay. Yeah.
That's a really good question. Okay. So this company, we're all 1099 contractors. And we work on a file by file basis. Agent signs up. Once we get a contract, we work for that one contract. They can continue to give contracts or not. It's up to them. There's no long-term agreement. It's very a la carte that way, if you would. The other thing is I am an S corporation, so there's no 1099, and it is 100% tax deductible.
So it's so listen to this. This is very important because like if you hire somebody, you're gonna pay anywhere from like $30,000-$40,000 a year.
Correct. So,
easily.
Yes. So our average file fee, our platinum level service is $450. Cash files are $350. It averages out to around $385 a file, or $400 depending on your cash to financing ratio. But in the Coastal Bend, that usually averages out, if you're at the median sales price of $275 at a 2.6 gross commission, it's less than 5% of your gross commission. So we are literally
not paying
less than
30.
5%.
Yeah.
There's no taxes to be paid. I mean, there's no employment taxes. If I go on vacation, which I do take 2 weeks a year, my files go to somebody else. That person's introduced. My agent is introduced to the transaction coordinator, and there's always somebody there.
When was the last time that you took a vacation, and where?
November. I went to Bernie.
Oh, cool.
Was it Bernie or was it? It was somewhere up there in Hill Country or somewhere in San Antonio. A friend of mine gave me her condo for the weekend, so I took the whole week. So I took the whole week.
And you took your fur baby?
She wasn't with me yet.
Oh, she wasn't with you?
No, she came in December. I need to bring her up here one time.
Yes, Nico would love to play with her.
She came in December.
Oh, cute. How old is she?
She is now 8 months.
Oh my God, she's a baby.
She's a baby.
So anyway, I'm sorry. Going back to the realtors, I'm very easily sidetracked like that, Peter. Also, he said 450 platinum.
Yes. So 450 platinum level service is our most popular level service. About 80% of our clients are platinum. With that, we get in bed with the lender and get to know all the financing contingencies and deadlines tracking. We have a smaller level of service where we don't track lender conversations.
Oh, wow.
And we just make sure the agent's paid on time and passes their broker compliance.
So literally because I see your emails all the time. So that means that he has a lot of platinum realtors.
We do, yeah. So I built this company off of broker compliance only, but with the demand for more service.
Now, if there are some realtors out there listening to this, you need to call Peter and ask him about the Home Source special. Because there's one going out there. We're not going to say it live, but there is a promotion that we have going on. But anyway, so I think that it's great what you do because you're adding that value. And on that basis, I want to ask you, so what differences do you see and why do you think it's important for realtors to know what lender they're working with?
Oh, wow. Okay. So it's soup to nuts out there. When we get contracts from lenders where we don't have a relationship already set up with them or the agent doesn't have a relationship or know who they are, how they do business, The average, I would say the average time those close on time is about half the time. And it's not high, but it's not low, but but when we have a local lender that we know we have someone to hold accountable, or it's not necessarily a hold accountable thing, it's just we know they do a good job.
But you have that relationship.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's so nice. And especially when it's with the title company that comes highly recommended, it's even better.
That is smooth, right? Okay. What are the crazy things? I know that you deal with, a lot of realtors, but what has been one of like the crazy things, without saying names or anything? We don't want to shame anybody, but what's like the crazy stuff that you have seen? Fun stuff.
The day in and day out crazy is when lead-based. It's going to sound so boring. It's when lead-based paint addendums are filled out backwards.
What?
Lead-based paint addendums.
The lead painted.
I mean, honestly, I don't see anything too out there.
Really?
No,
they're also by the book. Realtors are that.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I guess it's because we've become so numb to it. Like, I think with our agents, we know, like, when we get a contract with some agents, like, we know there's not going to be a wire fraud, or there's not going to be any other documents. It's just a contract. Like, we just kind of know that's the game. Other agents, we get, excessive amounts of documents when we go under contract. So
I think like one of the things that I think that you guys come really handy, because I see this on transactions that they don't have transaction coordinators, is, for example, mail outs. Like, I feel like you guys do all that homework so well, because, I mean, people think that it's like, oh, we're going to close tomorrow. And then tomorrow morning, they're like, oh, by the way, my seller is a mail out. Well, crap. I mean, then he's not going to close tomorrow. I mean, how do you want me to, like,
accept originals?
Yeah, like, teletransport to over there, have them sign, and then come back? I mean, it's like, come on, dude. Like,
so we actually do have a trigger task in our checklist to check with the agent to confirm whether or not they're a mail out. We know the title company is asking that same question. Like, we hope they are, but we do it as well anyways. But I do want to say that leads me to there's 5 things that we don't do, which sometimes is easier to say that to an agent than it is to say what you do. So as a company, what we don't do, and some companies will do this, we don't schedule closings.
Okay.
We're going to make sure the CD is at title, though. We're going to review the CD. We're going to make sure those mailouts are accounted for. So no closings, and we don't schedule inspections.
Okay.
We will disclose a list of inspectors if it's Monday through Friday. From 9 to 6, we'll disclose lists of inspectors all day long. So no closings, no inspections. We don't review title commitments.
Okay.
And we don't send wiring instructions.
Okay.
Easy stuff. And then I think that's it. We don't maintain two-way conversation with the client. So
you really don't talk to the client.
We don't talk to the client. So we will send out requests
because you shouldn't talk to the client. I mean, that's a realtor.
The deal is, at the end of the day, we want the real estate agent to see the conversation story in their email so that they can update their client.
Right.
All the back work is going to be done so the agent can go to their client and look amazing.
And then, okay. So we schedule closings.
Okay, good.
And that's like oh my God, like some realtors are like,
why'd you do that?
No, like literally, I had realtors be like, no, I'm going to say no. I'm like, I'm the one sending documents out. Right. I know when the loan is going to close. Yep. I'm like, now, we're not on realtor time. And I love all my realtors, but it's like, it's the client. I'm like, and then of course we'll run through them because I like to see the realtors there. But we take that, and there's a lot of realtors that absolutely love that we do that, because then they don't have to really deal with anything.
It is interesting. We work with a lot of realtors, and it is interesting to see the different
of what they like and they don't like.
What was I going to say about closings? Some markets we're in DFW, and they schedule closings more than 7 days out. So we can get not we, but our agent can schedule their buyer's closing a week before closing. Before closing,
yeah. Well, that's Dallas, people.
We want to do it here too. No, but I know. Anyways.
Well, you know what? I couldn't do that because I'm actually right now averaging under 20-day closings. So. Right. It will be impossible for me to schedule. I mean, I will be having to. Peter wants me to be doing loans in 1 day. I'm not there yet, people. I'm working on it.
I want the clear to close and everything done the day after we know we're moving forward.
Right.
Like, I want,
he wants to know. Yeah, like let's close it.
Close.
So recently, I was super excited to be part of your client appreciation party. So he had a really, really cute, awesome event. A lot of people went there. How many clients do you have right now?
We are around 100. I think it's 108 right now. Honestly think it's more than that. I know last quarter we signed up 25. So that's almost.
They're like come and go.
Yeah, that's almost a quarter. And this year I want to sign up 135 agents, and we're built
for that.
We're built for that. Yeah, we've been training and yeah.
I really think that is very important for realtors to really leverage your time and what are you putting, like instead of like spending time trying to track, like you said, like track this, is a title in, is a survey order, is a lender doing what they're supposed to do, focus on doing more leads and pay the fee. Like, I mean, I don't see how that does not.
So I was a selling realtor for 4 years.
Okay.
Before I got my broker's license, and I have not sold a unit of real estate in 2 years now, and I have no plans of selling. So everyone on my team is non-producing, but not to get off the subject. It's not so much the amount of time an agent spends tracking down tasks or looking for documents or things. It's the amount of headspace that they get stuck with in the middle of the night or in the morning when they're having their coffee. Did I do this, this, and this? Or what about this, this, and this? That headspace we literally remove.
It's hard, right?
And it's hard for them to even let go of it. They don't want it. They want to keep thinking about it.
Well, I think that because we are so we like control freaks. Like we love the control. Like I'm still like right now, like if you ask Danielle and Catherine, they're like, you're not to talk to the underwriters. And I'm like, but I want to talk to them. You're not to talk to the underwriters who you're going to piss them off. And I'm like, okay, I won't talk to them. And I'm like listening to them and I'm like, because I want to say something. And I'm like already like over here, saying stuff. But it's just that. I mean, we don't like losing control of like what we're doing in the transaction.
I think on this side, I do work with a lot of realtors who I talk to them and they're like, what do I do? Where do I sign? Like, just take it. Like, I'm so done. And that's why, our secret agents are some of our best agents. But the agents that we do play in the sandbox with, it's a lot of fun.
Do you also do or help agents with new construction?
Yes, ma'am.
Like the ones that they stay longer, like in contract?
Yes. So there's no change in fees for any contracts, depending on the length of term or whatever of the contract. We do handle TXR commercial contracts, no attorney contracts.
Oh, okay, cool.
So Trek Residential, Corporate Builder, DR Horton, whomever, we can manage all those as well.
And commercial too.
Yes, TXR.
Oh, wow.
Yes,
okay.
For sure.
Okay. So now tell us a little bit about you.
Me.
So where are you originally from? Why would people want to do business with you?
Okay, well, I'm originally from Connecticut, Bridgeport. I was raised in Florida. I have a bachelor's from Florida State in fashion merchandising.
Oh.
I was a buyer for Macy's for 9 years out of the Atlanta office. After the housing market crashed back in 08, 09, they consolidated all their offices to New York. And I said, I don't want to move to New York.
But you're from Connecticut.
I know. So I was in Atlanta without a job for, I think it was about 18 months. And I took a job with Kohl's corporate office in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Corporate America wasn't
what you wanted it to.
It was fun when I first started, but it just didn't become fun anymore. So I was actually, I was visiting my mother in Alabama. That's where they retired to. And she was yelling at my sister on the phone to she's yelling at her, fire your real estate agent, fire your real estate agent.
Oh, wow.
My sister was buying a house. My sister was living in Corpus Christi. I'd never been to Texas. So I have time. So I got in the car and drove to Texas to fire her real estate agent in Corpus Christi. And then I got here and I realized after a short home tour that it wasn't the real estate agent that needed to be fired. It was my sister. So the real estate agent, I had fun. We had a lot of fun. And she said, you should get your license. And I was like, okay. I was like, whatever. So I went driving home to Alabama and I was just like.
And you're like, maybe that's what I should do.
I liked being here in Texas. I really liked Corpus Christi. I pulled onto Everhart Road. It was like nowhere I'd ever been before. And I was like, I love this. It reminded me of growing up in Florida and Sarasota. So I packed up and drove down here and lived with my sister for a little while I was getting my real estate license. I did hang my license with the same broker that agent was with, which was Keller Williams for 4 years. Had a blast, and I went independent. So
wow.
why people should do, and I do have a brokerage in Trek in case anyone looks. It's called Texas Transaction Coordinators. It's for licensed TCs across the state to hang their license and
cool.
not be with a producing broker like a EXP or KW. But we do have EXP licensees on my team. That's a completely separate business.
Right.
So why they should do business with us? Because we're different than other TC companies that I run across. We come from a real estate mentality. We know how to talk real estate. We know what's important to real estate agents running a deal. We know when to get involved and when not to get involved. We know what's too much communication and what's too little. So we try to be very cognizant of the transaction in general, and we serve the transaction. Period. I mean, the agent is hiring us and they're paying us. But if Claudia needs help with something, or if the title company needs help with something,
then you're gonna deal with it.
We come from a mentality where we serve the transaction.
Right.
We're not serving just the real estate.
Right.
By extension, we're serving.
And that's very important because, again, if you are in a good lineup of like who are you working with, I mean, because on a real estate transaction, title company, insurance agent, lender, warranty company, I mean, they all work together like on the same line. So if they're not aligned,
that's what we do.
That's like a disaster. Right.
We do. Yeah. And we bring people back together on the same page. I mean, no two conversations are the same. We do have templates, but I don't believe in templates as a way to run your business day in and day out. But
no, especially when Peter and Claudia are communicating, there's no template.
And the team, the thing you mentioned about the team is very interesting because it does get hectic when there's multiple emails. But what I find is when y'all work together over time, I mean, I know every title company in town. I know
who are you dealing with and all that. And that's the thing. Like, my team is broken down. I mean, because I know you have worked with our team. Like, I mean, it's literally Daniela or Catherine that you're dealing the most.
Right.
Maria is, appraisals, title work and all that. But then the processors are the ones that take it all the way to the end. Right. So, I mean, that's just pretty much, what it is. So, to the realtors that are listening, where do they find you, Peter?
mytexastc.com.
Okay. Is it hard to sign up?
No, not at all. There's a sign up link on the website where you just have to give yourself at least 10 minutes to fill it out because we need some good information from you before we can get started. And we do have a non-disclosure agreement in there that says we will not disclose your data.
Okay. Do they,
we have to have
does anybody get denied?
Does anybody get what, denied? No, everybody gets approved. I mean, we don't.
I'm sorry. Like sometimes the Karens out there that you might don't want to deal with.
No, the first thing I do, so I see all the signups that come in for the company. The first thing I do is jump to Track and check, is your license in good standing? If your license is in good standing, I don't have a leg to stand on, no. But no, in all seriousness, I've been doing this for over 3 years now, and I've seen one contract out of almost 2,000 that could go to court. So the averages are very low. I mean, that's
HomeServe was not involved.
No, it was not involved. It's not. And honestly, it was nothing to do with anything on the broker side. Right. So, but yeah, I mean, it's, yes, everybody can sign up.
Everybody can get approved.
No, you don't have to close a certain number of files every month. We have some agents that close 0.2 units a month. We're happy, that we want you on our roster.
Well, those are the ones actually that you want to focus to help them build more of the business.
Our core, we have different, core agents, if you would, but the agent that is most attractive to us is the one who's selling about 1.5 units a month. Well, they're starting, but they're at that point where their business is about 1 or 1.5 units a month, and it's just about to go like that.
To go up.
And they see it, but they don't see it because.
But that's what it is. I'm telling you. I mean, even it's the same with loan officers. I mean, until you actually find that assistant that it's going to help you to actually focus on selling and not on the paperwork. Right. I mean, that's when you start blowing up and doing more deals. Right. I mean, that's not rocket science. Nope. I mean, that's how can you do more? Well, you have to duplicate yourself on having more support, and what better than a transaction coordinator. So we're going to put the link on when we put the when the podcast goes live, we're gonna put your link there so that people can look in there or sign up. And then don't forget to ask about the home source discount, because there's one if you use me as a lender, but I know that a lot of you do. So but thank you so much, Peter, for coming.
Pleasure.
This was great.
Yes.
I know that this is gonna benefit a lot of the realtors.
Good.
I appreciate
Yes.
it.
All right.
Thank you. Bye.